Recording in progress.
So today we are going to discuss human behavior again. Like, I'm becoming a bit of a geek now at studying human behavior, human psychology, and that whole kind of space. Because what I'm firmly starting to believe and understand, and Sarah, I think you'll get this as well, because Sarah's starting to have an interest in kind of NLP things, that everything else is kind of irrelevant if we can't control our behavior, if we can't control our emotions, because essentially our behavior is what we do or don't do. So you could have the best nutrition plan in the world. If you keep not sticking to it and binge eating, it's completely useless. You can have the most bespoke training plan from a performance strategist like Paul, who does mine, but if I don't go for the freaking run, it's completely pointless. So our human behavior and our actions and our habits is everything, and everything else becomes irrelevant. Good morning, Jan. It doesn't matter how clever you are, how intelligent you are, how good your coach is, your nutrition plan, your training plan, your degree, your PhD, or anything in between. If you cannot control your actions and behavior and understand why you do what you do, then they're all completely useless. That was why I did that post last night. I'm actually going to drop it in the Elite WhatsApp group and get you guys to comment on it. And just drop an emoji and like it, because I want to test something. But essentially, this is what I'm going back into, discussing, that so many people, whether it's a business coach, a business mentor, a fitness coach, a marathon coach, a whatever coach, and everything in between, people think they can buy their way out of their own habits. They can buy their way out of their beliefs. I'll give person X money as an exchange, and now it's your fault, Lee, if I fail, because I've given you money. And if I don't do the plan, then it's still your fault, because I'm trying to buy my way out of my inner beliefs. I've done this a lot myself with a lot of business mentors. Business mentors just make me fucking lazy, because as soon as I'm signed up, I believe they should be doing the work for me. So I kind of stop doing the work myself. And probably the biggest insight I've had this year is just like you guys. I need to stop investing in people thinking that they're going to be the magic bullet, thinking that they're the shiny object, thinking that they're the answer to all my prayers. Because I know what I need to do. I just need to do it more consistently, and stop getting sucked in by people who are like, well, if you just give me money, then I'll help you do this quicker. If you just invest this, I'll get you more leads. If you just invest this, I'll get you more clients. Because 99 times out of 100, they don't. Because it comes down to us doing the work. So I'm going to go right back to this whole session being on. I am going to talk more again about the 6 basic human needs. We went through them, right? Certainty, uncertainty and variety, love and connection, significance, growth and contribution. Everyone's obsessed with the first 4. The second 2 are the key to fulfillment. So looking at how we can embrace uncertainty and get comfortable with it. And I think if you take away what I'm going to teach you today and apply it, it will change your life forever. If you don't, your life will stay the same forever. So looking at how we can embrace uncertainty and look deeper into how our mind controls what we do or don't do. So whether it's drinking too much alcohol, gambling, taking drugs, all the things that I've discussed in the past, or something just as simple as, try and turn this brightness up a bit, there we go. Something just as simple as, you didn't track your food this week. You missed training sessions. You didn't do the mindset session. You haven't checked in. That's about fucking 50 of you, by the way. But you're probably not going to know that or take any offense to me saying that comment, because you're not going to watch this video, because you're not doing the mindset work. Too busy complaining about how it's different for you. Too busy complaining about the results you're not getting with the work that you're not doing. Too busy talking about how you're stressed, anxious, worried, overwhelmed, overworked, stressed out, don't have the headspace for anything. Yeah, you're not doing the mindset work. I've got all these problems with my mind, but I'm not working on my mind. Crazy, right? It's like, I've got all these problems with body fat, but I'm not doing the exercise. So our mind will control everything that we do or don't do. How we react in relationships, how we are with our health, fitness, fat loss, mindset, career, how we look after our kids, and everything in between. The mind controls everything we do or don't do. Now, I'm going to start with saying my answer to this is yes. And drop me a comment on Zoom now if you're live, on the YouTube video if you're watching on replay, and or on the replay when I post it in the Facebook group, private group. Have you done anything this week or not done something this week that is out of alignment with what you say you want? Do you want to drop body fat but you've gone over on calories? Do you want to drop body fat but you skipped a training session? Do you want to drop body fat but you didn't track your food this week? Do you want to drop body fat but you didn't do 10,000 steps every day? Do you want to drop body fat but you didn't do the gym sessions this week? Are you struggling with stress, anxiety, overwhelm, fear and procrastination but you didn't do last week's 3 mindset sessions? Are you struggling with overwhelm, stress, procrastination but you didn't do the planner every day and schedule your day? Like, did you do one single action last week which is out of alignment with what you say you want? Out of alignment with who you say you want to be? If you didn't, you're better than me. I had at least 5 bags of squashes last week. I definitely blamed, moaned and complained at least once a day last week. I ain't no perfectionist, people. I ate pizza. I was supposed to do 15k on Friday. I did 4k. Granted, I did 50 on Saturday, but it's the first one that I've missed. So I need to put an extra 12k in this week to make up for it. I did things that weren't precisely in alignment with what I say I want. So our mindset will control whether we show up and do the work or not. So if you haven't watched, Jesus, I don't even know how many videos back it is. I think it was the one before the 4 keys to upgrading your life, which was the one before turning frustration into fearlessness. So it's 6 or 7 videos back. If you haven't watched the first video on understanding human behavior, go back and watch that, because it was the one before the 4 keys to upgrading your life, and the other 2 that I did last week. So about 6 videos back. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch that training. If you haven't watched it, you're 7 videos behind. You've just had another little insight into why you might be struggling up here. So I'm going to recap it quickly now, because some of you might be watching this and you want to still get the benefit of it now. So we discussed the 6 reasons why we do what we do, or we don't do what we don't do. Got that right. And there's 6 reasons that will change our lives, our bodies, our careers, and our relationships. And it's our desire to move closer towards them or further away from them. And this is why some people do the work and others don't. And when you drill down on what I'm about to teach you and see how your behaviors run and how your behaviors show up in all your interactions in life, in your personal relationships, in your careers, in your training, in your fitness, nutrition, mindset, fat loss, every single area of life: fun, finance, family, fitness, and focus. 5Fs. Another one in there, but I'm not going to mention that on a live. This is going on YouTube. So, how we show up in those areas and those interactions is what will shape our lives. And our desire to move towards or away from these 6 things is what will make us or break us. So we need to develop our awareness of how we use them. So number 1, we went through this: certainty or safety. We know this. 95% of us have an inappropriate need for certainty. It's why we never ask the boy or girl out. It's why we never go for the new job. It's why we don't end the toxic relationship. It's why we don't do the skydive. It's why we don't attempt all the things that deep down we say we love to do. It's why we drop silly comments on other people's Facebook posts like, "Oh, Lorraine, you're doing so well. I wish I had your motivation." Okay? Bullshit. Then we have, remember, and as well, we went through this, certainty doesn't exist. Best example in the world, Twin Towers, September 11th. How much certainty did all those people have about their lives, their careers, their families, their money, their fitness, their fat loss, their goals, their plans, their holidays that year, and everything in between, and all of a sudden, bang. Gone. Dead. Over. Finished. Whatever certainty you think you have doesn't exist and could be taken away from you in an absolute millisecond. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. There is actually one very funny story about September the 11th. I read this in a newspaper. There was a divorce case that was settled, and there was a guy who was basically having an affair, who worked on one of the floors that the aeroplane went straight through. This is actually in the divorce papers. And obviously his wife was frantically ringing him when it happened. And to his response that he was in the office, he was definitely in the office. He was absolutely certain that he was in the office. And obviously he wasn't in the office because he worked on one of the floors where his office was, where the aeroplane went straight through. He was actually with somebody in a hotel room having an affair, and that was actually stated in the divorce papers. Talk about an absolutely ridiculous way to get caught out doing what he was doing. Anyway, back to the training. Uncertainty or variety is the next one. Many people have an inappropriate need for variety. That's why that guy was having an affair. He needed variety in his life. He needed more uncertainty. He thrived off it. So we generally live on a seesaw between those two. Some people have an inappropriate need for certainty. Some people have a crazy need for uncertainty. So the next one is significance, which is validation and identity, the emotional journey that I've gone through, posting nudes to get the attention, buying the Land Rover so I feel like I'm good enough, getting the big house, doing all these things to make people love me and appreciate me, not realizing that the right people would without any of those things due to an inbuilt childhood trauma that I wasn't good enough and that I wasn't loved. Then we have love and connection. Now, that's when this comes in. Most people are using the need for significance and validation as a vehicle to get love and attention. If I get money, people will love me. If I get abs, people will want to sleep with me. If I buy a posh car, people will tell me I'm good enough. One-way road to absolutely nowhere and surrounding yourself with and attracting the wrong people. But most people, a lot of people, use significance to try and get love, and it never works. Then we came on to the last two, which are the keys to every single one of us living a happy life. Most people live somewhere between 1 and 4. We need to live in 5 and 6, which is growth and contribution. So Most people go their entire lives chasing 1 and 4, not realizing that the true fulfillment comes from 5 and 6, not chasing enough significance to be loved, understanding you were born good enough, and moving away from this. Again, some of you have done this on your check-in all this week. I will give myself permission to be happy if this happens. I will give myself permission to feel like I'm good enough if this happens. We have to move away from that, because certainty is predominantly a belief. And I'm going to go into why this probably started being put into your head from the age of 2 years old. How crazy is that? But Tony Robbins' most famous quote, and I've journaled this out now about 50 times until I've memorized it. The quality of your life is always going to be in direct proportion to the quality of uncertainty you can handle. We're back to the funny phrases that I said last week. He who risks the least gains the least. He who dares rodders. SAS, who dares wins. Fortune favours the brave. Those will be the ones that you remember. But the reality is, 95% of the things we want to do are based on our beliefs, and our mind will talk us in or out of it. And these two examples, one from Peter Sage and one from George Zaleki, will literally blow your head into it making sense. So most of you say I can't when you mean I'm not willing to. I can't use MyFitnessPal. Fuck off. And I mean that with love. You can. You mean I can't be asked. It's not important to me. I can't get up an hour earlier. Again, F off. You can. You don't want to. You're not willing to. It's not important to. If you're going to be a pussy, at least own it. At least take responsibility. It's the comfort zone excuse again. What you mean is I choose not to based on my need for certainty and safety. Comfort zone, aka bullshit. I can't. I don't want to embrace discomfort. I'm afraid, aka need for safety. Now, right, listen to this story. It's the plank of wood story. So those of you who were at Mindset Mastery, we're going to picture the center of that room. Those of you who weren't there, you just need to picture a big conference room with loads of tables, and Lee moves all the tables to one side and he puts about that wide, that's about 6 inches, yeah? Down the middle of the room, sorry ladies, and puts the planks of wood all the way down the middle of the room, and it says, right, who wants to come and walk the plank with me? Who's got the balls? Well, of course you have. Everyone stands up and we all walk down the plank of wood and we all get to the other end. Brilliant. Job done. Then, next up, that is not going to be great, is it, that they're still building that house? Next up, hopefully that's not too noisy. Next up, we're going to do some prizes. So every time that each of you walk to the end of the plank, I'm going to give you 50 quid. It's all you have to do. Get on the plank, walk to the end, and I'll give you 50 quid. Walk back, and I'll give you another 50 quid. Everyone's in, right? You're still in. Next one. I'm going to give you 50 quid every time you can get to the end of the plank and back, all 57 of you, in 1 minute. There's no rules. Absolutely no rules. What happens? Carnage. Fighting, pushing, shoving, chucking each other out of the way, survival of the fittest. Very different scenario. Then we're going to move on to the next section. And this should leave you believing, and you can do anything you can achieve, anything you want to. Just like Jan and many of the others didn't believe they were going to get in that lake for 7 minutes at Bottomere, but they did, and they bossed it. Just like 95% of you didn't believe you were going to do the marathon, but you did. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take you to Lake Bottomere with that plank, and I'm going to suspend it 2,000 meters above the two highest points. We'll make it around about the same distance, about 60, 70 meters, and we're all going to walk the plank. The same plank that was in the room. Who's coming with me? There's only like rocks and rivers, and it's about 2,000 meters down the drop. Who's in? Is anybody in? I'm not fucking in, I'll tell you that for nothing. Fuck that. So, no one would do it. It's the same plank, it's the same situation, different environment. And your mind will talk you out of it because it's inbuilt for safety, survival, and certainty, and staying in this place that we call the comfort zone. So now, let's go back to the room again, back at Mindset Masterclass, and we're going to put the plank back down, and we're going to step it up a little bit, and we're going to go tiptoes all the way to the other end, tiptoes all the way back, and see who's going to do it. We all do it fine on our tiptoes. Then, once we've completed that, we peel back the carpet and we realise that the carpet either side of the plank was actually paper. Paper covering the same deep rocky ravine with the 2,000 metre drop straight onto the rocks. That's the most real world example you got. You did exactly the same as going across the rocks. Just the fact that this time you didn't know the rocks were there. You didn't know the drop was there. And that is such a good story to showcase that had you known about the uncertainty and the lack of safety, you wouldn't have done it. But if you didn't know that it was there, if you thought it was just the same plank, you'd have done it without thinking about it. And that's the most real and actual proof. We could change that in any ways. We could make it hot coals in the room. We could make it razor blades, anything whatsoever. But the reality is you all will have done something that you didn't think you could do because you had a false belief around certainty. Now, the question that I want you to write down now and take away from this training is, if you knew that there was no fall, if you knew there was no drop, if you knew there was no razor blades, hot coals, rocky ravines, safety, and that there was a guaranteed prize every time you got to the other side, guaranteed, safe, certain, what else would you be doing in your life that you're not doing now? If you had no fear, if we went back to Bottomere, like I said, you all did something you couldn't believe. And it was the same plank in all of those scenarios. It was the same situation. You all had the same ability. Yet your mind talks you out of one thing just because of the need for certainty. So if you just went for it in every area of your life, if you just asked the girl out, if you just asked for the pay rise, if you just did the course, if you just committed to running the ultra, climbing the mountain, planning to do Mount Everest, whatever it is you've always wanted to do, but the need for certainty has made you believe you're not good enough, what would you do and how different would your life look? If you could just quiet that voice that keeps saying, I'm not good enough, I need validation, I need somebody else to motivate me, I need someone to believe in me. Do you know how many people say that to me when they're about to sign up? If only all I needed was someone to believe in me. No, you didn't. Me believing in you helped, but you didn't need me. Trust me. And if we could quiet these false beliefs, and if we could quiet this subconscious programming that's happened from when you were a child, so it's not your fault, so don't beat yourself up about it, how different would life would look if you could just start to embrace uncertainty and just push through it and be grateful of any challenge that's coming up. Be grateful of any adversity, because embracing uncertainty and doing what the fuck you want, irrelevant of the outcome or the risk, is literally the straight line to all your dreams, to the life you've wanted. And if you never ask the question, you'll never know whether it's a yes or a no. I tell the story about Rory all the time. Oh, I'm not appreciated at work. Oh, I do more than everyone else. It's not fucking fair. I do 10 times more than this guy. It's like, well, you deserve more money then, right? Yeah, of course I do. When was the last time you asked your boss for a pay rise? Never. How long have you been there? 7 years. 7 years of doing more than another person. But then we have to talk about it rationally. You can't walk into a boss and go, man, I'm fucking Jenny the couch does fuck all, she's outside fucking smoking all the time, and fucking hell, she's on a lunch break for 90 minutes, I only take 45 minutes, I stay late and it's not fair, and da 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 da. Boss is going to go, fuck off. Whereas if we go in and we present it carefully, listen, I'd like to talk to you about my position. Over the last amount of years, I firmly believe I've delivered more and more and more and provided more value. I believe I'm actually the most valuable member of staff on this floor, and these are the reasons why. Based on that, I would like to request a pay rise of X. Are you willing to discuss this? He got the 20 grand pay rise on that day. All he'd not done was ask the question and moaned about the response that he thought he was going to get to the question that he hadn't even asked. So this is when it comes down to, if you never ask the question, you'll never know whether it's a yes or no. And this is when we need to change our what if to our even if. Even if the boss said, no, you ain't getting no pay rise, son. Well, that was a very bold, confident move to go and ask. And now you know the answer's no. We can apply that same process and bold, confident move to go in and finding somewhere else that does value you. Because your boss just basically said, I appreciate you doing more than everybody else, but I don't value you high enough to invest more money in you. So that's when we say ta-da. But most people won't. Why won't they say ta-da? They'd prefer the safety of the unhappy job and the shit salary versus the uncertainty of going to the new one. So we have two voices on each shoulder. We have the I can and we have the I can't. We have the I will and we have the I won't. We have the even if and we have the what if. Which one wins? The one you feed the most. Feed. Where do we feed ourselves from? I'm not talking about squashes. Our environment, our thoughts, who we listen to, what we watch. If you're feeding it with other people going, yes, you fucking can, Jan. Yes, you can do it. Stephen, I believe in you. You can achieve anything you want. Matt, I have no doubt you can climb Mount Everest. When are we going? Mark, in 12 months, you're going to be making an ultra look like a walk in the park. Jane, you're about to find your dream job. Can't see anyone else on the screen. And we feed it 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 every day until it's full. And then there's no room for what ifs. I can't. The one you feed the most with your thoughts and beliefs will be the strongest one that wins every time. And these decisions that you make will shape and break or make your life. And if you stop feeding the negative voice, it will fucking starve and die. Stop listening to negativity. Stop watching the news. Stop reading newspapers. Stop feeding fear. Stop listening to that voice that says, I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm not big enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not strong enough. Everything's different from me. Stop feeding it. On this note, I may regret this next comment for the rest of my life. Who's up for an unbreakable skydive? Put your hand up virtually if you're up for an unbreakable skydive. Jan's in. Can't see anyone else's cam. Mark's in. Fuck yeah. Sarah's smiling. And I'm going to tell you why. I've got to credit Peter for this as well. Can you tell I'm on a pure Peter Sage fucking bromance at the moment? This guy's like changing my life every day. Comment YouTube if you're in for a skydive. Right, Jane's done one before, so Jane's going to be able to help explain this better than I will, because I haven't done one. I have done a bungee jump and a reverse jump bungee. Both of them I'd had in the region of 19 bottles of San Miguel when I did the bungee jump, I think. So I was that pissed when I did the bungee jump. They put your weight on your hand, 69, favourite number, 69 kilograms I was at the time. And I'm that bladdered, I'm fucking arguing with the Dutch guy because the guy who was number 71 was going before me and I was number 69, so I had to go up before him. That's how pissed I was after signing a disclaimer that if I killed myself on this bungee jump, I'd be okay. Someone was like, that's your weight, you dickhead, not your number in the queue. I'm like, all right, okay, so calm down. I'll show you, I've got the photos here, I'll show you the photos, it's hilarious. Anyway, what was I talking about? Skydive. So, the people who do the skydive, I've no idea why I've just brought this up or decided it was a good idea, and I'm going to regret it tomorrow, but ADHD is life, right? So, the ones who do the skydive or the bungee jump or any of these things will have the most unforgettable experience of their life. Peter is a instructor. He's done a lot of skydives. And he was telling me about when he did the first one. Some quite funny stories about one person was apparently saying, no, and they actually shoved him out of the aeroplane. Not that that's should worry anyone. And when he said to the guy, well, what were you doing? He said, no. He didn't say the words he didn't say go. He said, no. And the guy said, I know, but we only get fucking paid on the amount of people that jump out of the aeroplane. So you're fucking going. So you didn't have any choice. But anyways, he's describing it, right? And he says, so I finally jumped out and he says, well, I'm free falling through the air. I'm right off on a Jackanory here. I'm free falling through the air, and he says you're going about 250 miles per hour, and then he says all of a sudden you pull the cord. Jane will be associating with this, and he says you go from like going down at 200 miles an hour to being stopped to 15 miles an hour. And he went, in that moment, he says there's nothing. There's not fear, there's not anxiety, there's not stress, you're not thinking about relationships, you're past anything. He says this is why he got obsessed with it and became an instructor. He went, it's just freedom and the most incredible, goosebumps talking about the most incredible sense of just being present. Like all of a sudden you're in that moment, you're however many feet above the ground, you're completely out of control, and Jane landed in a cow pat. And yeah, because you're truly in the moment. And this brings us back to the present of now. Imagine if we could just be in that moment every day, not stressing, not worrying, not anxious, not thinking about people who've hurt us, people who've upset us, people who've done all these things. So this is the difference between the people who jump, who don't have the inappropriate need for certainty, and the people who just stay sat in the plane because they weren't certain the parachute was going to open. If course the parachute's going to open. So again, it's that inaction or action that will dictate the direction of your life, whether you go for the job or not, whether you ask the boy or girl out, whether you go to the gym or not, whether you sign up to the course, whether you do the qualification, whether you choose to go, fuck that job that's safe and certain, I'm passionate about this, I'm going for it, and what will be, will be. And I guarantee if you do, what will be amazing. And you see this in relationships and careers, don't you? Most people would rather stay in a toxic, unhappy, terrible relationship or career that's destroying them on a daily basis just because it's still safe and certain. And they don't want to risk the uncertainty of being on their own, of having to restart, of all of these things. When in fact, the only thing they were really risking is finding someone that they would be truly compatible with and spend a life of love and fulfillment and connection and all the things that were missing in the thing that they're staying in because it was certain. This need is huge. It's the same with jobs. It's the same as I went through when I ended clubs. Shareholder, car, laptop, phone, pension, salary, massive bonuses. Can't let go all of that. And then I just did. I went, fuck this, I'm not happy with it. I hate nightclubs. I don't like the people I'm working with. It's destroying me. And risk the uncertainty of going down to being a personal trainer who was earning £300 a week, which outside of food just about covered my mortgage on that house that I'm actually selling, which was the one I lived in Eckington. I went from there to there. But the second I went from there and then went to there within weeks, because survival kicked in, passion kicked in. I was doing what I loved. All of a sudden, my energy was positive, not negative. I was, people say this all the time, don't they, when you go self-employed, and I'm not saying you should all jack your jobs in today, please don't do that, or go home and get divorced and just like, Lee, I've listened to you live this morning. I've quit my job. I've told my wife to fucking do one. Please don't go and do that today. I'm not suggesting that. But, the second I did, it went from, oh, can I do this, to I have to do this for survival. And the more I got into it, I quadrupled my salary within 6 months. And I was working 15, 16 hours a day PTing. But I didn't care because I was doing what I loved and I was passionate about it. So the energy was there. But I guarantee you, if you can just, and we're going to go through a little breathing exercise that you can take away. Don't do it if you're driving. If you can just start to embrace this uncertainty, again, with zero fucks about what anyone else thinks or their opinions, it's none of their business. You will see every single area of your life improve. So the way we do this, practical tips to take away, is we've got to become great at embracing fear and going through it, embracing uncertainty and going through it, and embracing discomfort and going through it. If you're in a toxic relationship and you need to end it, that is one fucking uncomfortable conversation. But on the other side of it is love, connection, and fulfillment. Same with careers. Like the level of discomfort you're willing to go through, we say this all the time and use the gym example. You either get the discomfort of going to the gym and eating healthy and curbing your alcohol, or you get the discomfort of being an alcoholic fat fuck who can't walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. Both options are uncomfortable. One leads to health and happiness, one leads to more misery. So we have to seek out uncertainty. We have to seek out discomfort. We have to seek out challenge, because the more we go through it, the better we'll get at it. This is why, if you look back at some of my first lives like this, they're terrible. But I went through it over and over and over and over again. We know repetition is the master of all skill. So go forth and seek out discomfort. Go forth and seek out things that make you feel afraid. Who felt less afraid after the Buttermere experience? Who felt less afraid after coming to the first meetup because you've gone through it and you've realised, oh, actually, do you know what? That wasn't quite so bad. You know, Sarah definitely had this within that 7 minutes in the lake, that fear, anxiety, stress, fuck, I'm cold, oh, this is horrible, I don't want to be here, everything's saying get out, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm in a fucking lake with my hat on, I'm chilling, this is fucking cool, look at them mountains, wow, what a fucking moment to be alive, what beautiful scenery. Now let's fucking get out and get some food. Anyway, but, you know, again, it's the same thing, it's uncomfortable at the start, and then everything starts to acclimatise. So the only way to handle this fear, this discomfort, this need for certainty is to keep going through it. Now I'm going to read this out. I wrote this down. So the next time we're struggling with one of these situations, with making a decision, the first thing I'm going to advise you with decisions is stop fucking asking other people. Unless it's someone who has done it and is exactly where you want to be, and for that reason you should take advice from them. The amount of people taking advice from people that haven't got what they want or haven't done what they want to do or don't, crazy, makes no sense. You wouldn't ask someone who doesn't know how to fix cars to fix your car. So what we can do is relax and take a huge deep breath in. So this will be a breathing exercise, similar to what we did at Lake District. So again, breathe from the diaphragm, not the not the chest. So we're going to take a huge deep breath in. And we're going to breathe it out, okay? Through your nose, to the bottom of your stomach, not your chest. And just start to reset yourself when you make a decision. I'm not going to do the whole exercise. But as we repeat this, then start to smile. As you breathe out, start to smile. Start to think confident thoughts. Start to think deep inner belief thoughts. Start to think I can thoughts. I will thoughts. I am good enough thoughts. And stand, you're going to think I'm a little bit mad now. We're going to go through this at the Ultra on Saturday. But stand with certainty. Stand with confidence. Look people in the eye. Smile. And this is practicing confidence. This is practicing certainty. Because I want you to stand there with energy and strength and resilience in all communications and realize that you are strong enough. You are resilient enough. And breathe the energy in. Until you start to feel certain. You can train yourself to feel certain, and then smile again, and then repeat it, and then tell yourself that you can. This is the work I went through with Nikki. Well, as I said, it's exactly Amy, Superman pose, confident pose, certainty pose, power pose, and just start to feel how it feels to be certain. And again, you're going to think I'm crazy, but look in the mirror and do this. I am good enough. I am fucking strong. I embrace uncertainty. I embrace challenge. Adversity doesn't bother me because I know any setback is the setup for a comeback. I will return stronger, fitter, more energized, more confident because I have certainty in myself. And that's the only thing that I can have certainty in. And this is why when I say certainty doesn't exist, it doesn't exist externally, but it can exist within. You can create it. And this is when you tell yourself you're strong and you stay grounded. And when you can get yourself into this state, like so many people would even go into an interview or go into a conversation or go into anything at all, like the amount of people does that this time every week at 9 o'clock. Screen time was down 27%. Fuck you, Instagram. Anyway, less looking at Titsley and more fucking personal development. There we go. 27%. I bet income's up by the same as well. So it's a direct correlation. Less tits and ass, more personal development. Anyway, so knowing that state, your limiting beliefs are gone. Dissipated. They don't exist. You created them. And I'm going to tell you why you created them. And I'm going to tell you why it's not your fault. Because most of this came from when you were 2 years old. How crazy is that? Who knows what the first word that 99% of children say is? Type it in the comments. Mummy? Amy's got it straight away. No. Because that's all they're told. And the next training, which I'm going to come on to, is about conditional and unconditional love. They are two very different things. And when you can understand them, this isn't going to be some woo-woo Jane Austen love story. This is going to be how you apply those to your life. But as a child, unless you had very screwed up parents, which some of us did, you are loved unconditionally up until the age of about 2. Shit, scream, crap on the carpet, do anything you want. You're loved unconditionally. And literally from 2 years old, it starts to become more conditional. And you have to do things to get more of it. And you have to stop doing things if you want it, because your parents will withdraw it when you're naughty. And you're told no all the time. Not because you have bad parents, not because they're terrible, because essentially you're an inquisitive child whose only 2 fears are loud noises and falling. You have no fear of anything else. So every time you go near anything that could cause any harm, because your parents love you and they're protective, this is why this is all subconscious and certainly not any form of attack on parenting. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. No, 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 no. Oh, come back here. Safe. Cuddle. Oh, safe. Like literally from 3 until 7 years old. Don't do this. Be careful. Be safe. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do that. No, 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 no. And then we go into the stage where it's like, wow, now I have to do things to get love. I have to be good to get love. I have to be quiet to get. I don't want to be fucking quiet. Oh God, I'm not quiet. I get told off, and now I need to be quiet to be loved. And you can see how this is. Can you see now how this is built into all these interactions now in our adult life? Anyway, that's Wednesday's training. But to recap that, before we move on to how this love and connection and all this subconscious programming has created who we are and how we can start to now recreate this to move forward, you know, we do need to understand that most of what we want to achieve and the decisions and everything in between, to recap what we've gone through today, comes from, if we want to build this certainty, this strength, this resilience, we have to practice it. To start to practice it in everyday life, say hello to people, stand tall, smile, look them in the eyes, stay strong, and start to have a radar every single day to which voice you are feeding. And stop listening to other people, because most of it is in your head. And it's our decisions that Mark's already found us a skydive. Fuck's sake. Fucking hell. It's in Nottingham though, that's a good thing. This is, I'm glad that is near. Can I just confirm that's near here? Because we are talking to the man who thought that the Yorkshire Peaks was somewhere near Bakewell. So, you know, that Nottingham, that sounds close, isn't it? Yeah, I know that's close. That's up the road. That's near East Midlands Airport, yeah? Told you I didn't listen at school. So, this power pose needs to be where you make your decisions from. And I also want you to start making your own decisions. You don't need to ask your mum or dad. Probably, unless it's financial, you don't really need to ask your husband or your wife. Because guess what? If they love you unconditionally, they'll support you no matter what. If their love is a condition of you staying in a safe place, might be time to assess that relationship or have that uncomfortable conversation. But this power pose needs to be where you make your decisions from, even if it's something you do in private. Stand tall. Stare challenge and adversity in the face. Remember, you were good enough. You were born good enough. Breathe, smile, embrace it. Because when you can get into this place before you make decisions, you will start to understand that you can handle any form of uncertainty, and that the quality of your results will always come down to the amount of uncertainty, discomfort, challenge and adversity you can handle. And when you can nail this, trust me, you will open up new levels, new directions, and your life will never be the same again. Guys, I love you all. Stay unbreakable. Looking forward to the skydive. Let's get it booked in sometime next week. And Wednesday's training on love. Never thought you'd hear me say that. But it will be a good training, and it's probably not what you think. Guys, on that note, I love you all. Have an amazing day.